like he's a snow leopard, right? Like,
Yeah. Like rare.
Optimism.
Or what he's looking for is a snow leopard. Like, are you going to see
Right.
one? Probably not.
Right.
Like,
That's how it is. Here we go. Hi. Once upon a groove on an old soul tune. I watch the pin move to shake the breakthroughs. Who makes moves, maneuver in the right direction. The rest of you get left behind and messed up in the session. I'm not trying to make a difference.
Rock on.
Everyone, welcome to Drunkcast Live.
Yay!
A podcast takes place in bars and restaurants in 3 states and someday the world. I'm Travis. Dylan is not going to be here tonight because he threw out his back and he's on a lot of medication. And sitting on a picnic bench for a couple of hours didn't sound good for his back issues.
Seems fair.
Makes sense. But filling in for him, of course, is Chris Lloyd.
Yay!
I say, of course, because you've done this with me one other time.
I don't think I've ever officially co-hosted.
I thought you did. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll fix that in post.
I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm up to the challenge.
We'd like to talk about things that have happened over the week and do it with interesting people. And we're lucky to have a very interesting person by the name of Gale.
hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
I mean, off air, we already kind of covered all that, but like, you're doing great.
yes.
Right. Busy days and
those
things.
Yeah. Life is
Keeping
good.
score.
Thanks for coming by and hanging out with us.
Yeah. Thanks
And
for having me.
hanging out with some strangers on a patio somewhere.
Sure. Yeah. It's about 90 degrees out.
Yes.
That is
Yeah. Yeah, I actually
We
brought an
reused
extra
the
fan just in case.
Copper coiled fan.
It is the one problem with this show, especially when it gets really cold too. Heaters are a little better. Someday we'll have official Drunkcast, maybe parkas or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
That would be luxurious. Hats.
yeah, of course. Yeah, wool knit hats of some
Yeah.
sort. Yeah.
set has Patreon gift written all over it right there.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
If
Merchandising.
you can give us $15,000 a month, we will send you one knit hat.
That's a good deal.
It's a pretty good deal.
I would pay that.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
you wear the hat first?
If for 15, yeah, I guess that seems appropriate.
Okay.
Would you wear just the hat for 1,500?
15,000.
15,000.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we can figure out the words later, but
I mean,
it does seem like not enough for just a hat. So yeah, naked Travis in a hat before ship, pictures on request. I think is appropriate.
you could put the logo right there.
I already have a tattoo right there. So,
I did not know that.
I'm a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
So the first time you're on the show, I have to answer 3 questions.
Yeah.
First question is, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Shinerbach.
Shutterbach. Is that
Classic.
Is that a beer you go to very often?
It's not super often, but it's hot out, and I wanted something just like run of the mill.
Sure.
Nothing.
Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't want to go crazy.
Okay. If you wanted to go crazy, what would you drink?
Ooh.
I'm a big fan of cocktails.
Okay.
I drink a lot of cocktails.
Okay. What's your favorite cocktail?
I had something at the Tigress once. Am I allowed to promote other bars on your show?
Sure. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. Austin can't exist without other bars. So.
It was bright green. I think it was made with mint and cilantro and chartreuse, and it was
interesting.
really good.
Okay. Cilantro and drink.
It's like the best thing I've had recently, maybe.
I mean, I like cilantro. I've never thought this needs booze, but I'm with
Actually,
ya.
my favorite beer I ever had was also made with cilantro.
Really? Really?
It is made by Trinity in Colorado Springs, my hometown, and it had cilantro and corn and jalapenos, and it was so refreshing and good and surprising.
Corn, huh?
Yeah.
That makes a citation needed for the corn.
Yeah,
but,
that sounds like a dare, not a cocktail. But
Oh, that was a beer.
oh, well, yeah. I stand by my statement. Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you have access to be able to make beer, like cilantro, huh?
Just get
I'm one of
bored.
the kinds of humans that cilantro tastes like soap.
Oh, yeah. That's
So-
a bummer. I judged people who didn't like cilantro for a long time. I thought they were just being
Dicks,
like
yeah.
prigs or something. And then I learned that that's not true and
Yeah.
that it's a very bad taste to them. And I was like, oh, I should be less judgmental about people's food
I
stuff.
mean, really a moral for all of us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like racism and homophobia. Like, it's all the same thing.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Cilantro judginess.
Well, I was
There's got to be a word for that. Foodist?
Foodist. Yeah, no, it's a bummer too because I can't get. I've asked this question from other people. This is not part of the 3 questions, but what does cilantro taste like to you? I've heard somewhere
Cilantro
between
tastes like delicious grass.
delicious grass. Okay.
Yeah, like how a beautiful green lawn looks.
Okay.
Like that
Whoa.
pleasure.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot.
Wow.
Because I got somewhere between celery and mint, or it's a fresh taste, or
Yeah, both those are good too.
but the way a lawn looks or
Yeah.
it should taste. I like that. That's correct.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Points on the board.
Second question is, what is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal. Wow, I don't have any jokes about this or anything.
What's the first animal that comes to your head?
Like a snow leopard, but that's not legit. I'm not cool enough to have a snow leopard as my spirit animal. Let's be real.
Do you think they're too cool for you,
yeah.
or are you like?
No,
'Cause
yeah,
they're
they're
pretty
too
chill.
like a snow leopard would be for like a legitimately cool person could have a snow leopard. I feel like a lot of people think that they could have a snow leopard
Sure.
as their spirit animal,
Or
but
a
like
wolf.
would you
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's more wolves even than snow leopards.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, what's an uncool spirit animal?
Like a possum.
Right,
Well,
right.
touche.
Like an
Touche.
armadillo.
An armadillo could be kind of cool.
Or just like a boring lizard, like one of the little ones that hangs out. A
think
cockroach.
I think a peacock's kind of a boring spirit animal too, in the same sense. Like it's like, so you really just like to unfurl your feathers and show off constantly. Like that doesn't seem. That's not very cool to me. Like, no, I just want to be pretty. Like that's not the same thing as a spirit animal. Like no guy's gonna be like, yeah, you're a cock, you know, like like peacock.
I mean, shake what your mama gave you, you know?
Sure.
I mean,
I'm not disparaging those who
it's
would
a
do it
confident
as much,
animal. Right?
but yeah, they're also very weird and.
Oh, kind of
Very
mean
loud.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not pro.
Well, that's the other part too. Is like not a lot of people know peacocks are like not fun to be around, and they're scary. Swamp eagles.
Camels, they're spitty. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Pecky.
So what is it though?
Maybe an octopus. That also seems a little too cool for me, but like closer to the correct thing.
Okay.
Maybe
Good.
like a cuttlefish.
Okay.
This is almost turned into therapy here. Like, this is interesting. Like,
Table that for now. Yeah.
yeah. Baby steps.
And the third question is supposed to be unique to you, like a question you'd never hear before or never hear again. What kind of cereal would you eat if you didn't have any milk?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay.
Solid answer.
Okay.
I used to eat that without milk. I would put it in baggies and take it to work.
Okay.
in my lunch.
Hands too, because
Yeah.
that was a follow-up question. Is it spoons or not? But yeah, that's an easy snack.
Tasty.
Yeah. And messy as hell, I'm sure.
I don't know.
Probably
It's little pieces.
It was like the
Put 'em in-
Cheetos
Oh, yeah,
of cereal, though, and like the
grainy.
cinnamon gets everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're an engineer, right?
correct.
And you touch keyboards, I'm sure, right?
I do.
Only your keyboard?
Yeah.
After eating a...
Pretty much only my keyboard. Yeah.
yeah, those are all correct answers. So,
Good job. Nailing
yeah.
it. Nailing
I
it.
had the sheet down here. I just want to make sure.
Okay, yeah. You were checking it against the
She is an
Drunk
engineer.
Cast approved
Stamped.
answer guide.
So you're an engineer. How long have you been doing comedy?
Really, like what I consider like 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. I was doing a little bit of improv before, but really from the time I started stand up, which has been my true focus and passion in like 3 years.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. How much time how much time after work do you spend to writing and doing stand up, or like do you hit a lot of open mic nights? Like
I haven't been going to as many open mics recently, but I feel terrible about it because that's where the work is.
Yeah.
Like that's where the meat of of what you're doing is.
Yeah.
And then also it's easy because sometimes open mics are terrible, but like I feel like they're one of the more, like if you're doing them right, like joyful and surprising, right? It's like that's
Sure.
where you try a new bit.
Right.
And you can treat shows like open mics, which is, I don't know, understandable, but kind of bad form. But yeah, I mean, doing new jokes and seeing what happens is one of the great pleasures of comedy.
Yeah.
And so that's why you go to open mics.
You mean keeping yourself busy with other things then? Like
Yeah, I feel like
writing more, I guess, or
yeah, I'm not doing as much writing. I do a lot of comedy adjacent stuff. I've run a few shows, and I'm writing this TV pilot, and we do and edit the podcast,
Yeah.
my podcast. And so it's like, I feel like when I started, it was just running, like going to open mics every night, and that was what I did, and then writing, and now
Right.
it's like all these associated activities, which aren't bad. I feel like it's a sign of growing into a
course.
role in the comedy community. But then sometimes I remember how often I used to go to open mics, and I'm just not going to get better if I stop doing that.
Sure. Well, on that medium, yeah. But like writing more and stuff sounds. I mean, like, can you talk about the pilot, or do you want to keep that under wraps for now?
No, it's not. We're doing a live table read next week, so I guess it'll be out of the bag to some extent. But yeah, it's called Research. It's about scientists, sort of scientists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like you shut that off specifically, so okay, I will not continue any further.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I don't know why I'm worried. Like, oh, somebody's gonna steal my great idea
Sure.
for a pilot, but it doesn't. I mean, ideas are kind of like a dime a dozen. It's more about
How it's delivered and who's
yeah. Like anybody can have a great idea, but then you actually have to do it.
right. And this episode will actually come out next Wednesday or so. So
Okay, so
if anyone could steal this idea
Yeah.
and bring it to another table read before that, like, God willing, give it to him.
Yep, they can have it.
They wanted it. They wanted it. I mean, who is the table read for? Like, how does that
We're
work
just doing
exactly?
it at Cold Town, so
Oh, okay.
we're just gonna invite our friends, and I mean, if random people off the street want to come, but yeah, we'll all just sit around and read the pilot.
Cool.
Yeah.
The gauging interest, or just like to kind of finally see something in fruition.
I think a little bit of both. I feel like hopefully we'll get feedback that'll help us revise it.
Yeah.
I'm writing it with Matt Needles, who is an improviser
Good.
and performer, sketch writer at Cold Town.
Yeah,
And so we'll get some feedback and, do another draft. But also it's nice to, especially when you're writing something for like film or TV, it's easy for it to feel like, oh, you finish it and then it goes into a hole.
Sure.
And then that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Whereas that's a nice thing about stand-up is literally anything you think of, you can realize like that night, probably.
Right.
And,
right.
Film or TV, it's nice to have a little bit of external, like, oh, we wrote a thing. Like, will people laugh at the jokes?
Sure.
Should we cut jokes? Probably if people don't laugh at them, right? Like, we'll find out.
Right,
Is there
right.
anything we discover when we read it, or like performances and the way those influence
Mhm.
the characters and that kind of thing? So
How much experience do you have, or how many people are working on this?
just two of us are writing it, and
Okay.
then we've cast out the main roles.
Okay. How much experience do you have writing? Like, because I would assume too, there's some degree of discovery when it comes to actually getting stage directions down and how to put a lot of information on a piece of paper for people who've never read a thing to do it right. Long story, please. How much of that experience do you guys have? Is this the first project of its kind? I guess is probably the right answer or question.
I wrote a pilot like a couple years ago. That was enjoyable. And then Needles and I have written a lot of sketch together.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
So we have an established relationship and like a writing relationship and
Right.
kind of like know each other's styles to some extent.
Cool.
And then we're, realizing
Sure.
a more, like a lengthier, more specific piece.
Yeah. The Cold Town apparently is that where your main hangout?
I don't know if I have a main hangout. I've done a lot of stuff at Cold Town for sure.
Yeah.
I guess probably more at Cold Town than anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I've kind of bounced around a lot.
Okay. You don't hang your hat in one improv
Yeah.
area. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I think because and especially as a stand-up, people a lot of times who aren't as familiar will ask, "Where do you perform?"
Right.
And the answer
right,
is really
right,
like
right.
anywhere. If you're like really involved in
Right.
stand-up, the answer is like all the places,
Right.
anywhere with a microphone and a stage.
Most days of the week, because there's 15 places every place you can go to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like we said last week with Nathan's, like go do it. Do a Google search for coffee. Take out all the Starbucks, and that's where I can perform tonight. It's because it's everywhere here. Like how long have you been in Austin?
4 years.
4 years. Okay. You come here for work?
No, I came here for grad school, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah, I got a master's degree, and then I started working.
Yeah. And then a year from that, you're like, I also want to get up in front of people and tell them jokes. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, I had been taking improv, and I took a random one-night stand-up for improvisers class.
Yeah.
And then I loved it, and I just kept doing it constantly.
Cool.
Yeah, I've gotten to perform a lot. It's been really fun.
Good. I actually, look, we're running out of time, but I want to talk more about the 7 minutes in purgatory?
Yeah, sure.
Because that seems really intriguing. But we'll take a break, and I'll ask you about that off air. But we'll be back after this.
Wipe the dust off the canvas and wait till we break.
Oh, does Snake have a box over his face, too?
You tripping on his deep groove. And the night's new, what a feeling, what a nice mood. A bad boom rock, we're here to rock.
Well, let's go back into segment 2, everybody. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Again.
Double deuce.
Still hanging out with Ella Gale. How's your beer so far?
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
About 2/3 done.
Yeah.
No, she's right. I'll verify that.
They do have cocktails here, if you'd rather not just drink beer. Tammy is probably the only one I would trust to make a cocktail, actually.
Sure.
No offense to anyone else here, but everyone else is kind of turn and burn. But, like, Tammy's a kind of a monster in a sense where if you don't come back here for another 10 years and you walk in, she'll say, "You Shiner?" Like, she just remembers everything.
It
Wow.
really is frightening.
And she's been here long enough that she knows where a lot of bodies are buried. But she can make some pretty good cocktails, and they have some really interesting minty things. Christmas
You know, I've
things.
never asked you, does she do the little scratchy thing on your back?
If I'm sitting over there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like to pretend it's just me. So,
So no.
I retract that question.
No.
actually.
It
Yeah.
never happens. I'll edit
Yeah.
to that point. No, of course. You're special. Special
I mean, I know.
snowflake. Everyone loves you.
Yeah. No, not everyone. Just Tammy. Like a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like more than you. Which is really, really what I'm concerned about.
So, Colorado
Yeah.
to blank. Or you there? Okay, Austin for 3 years. Before
that, I was in Colorado for a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that was extension of school? Wait, for only 1 year?
Yeah,
Grad school
I
here.
went home. I moved back in with my parents to do a bunch of prerequisites I needed for grad school.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Yep.
And what is your actual title now? I know you're an engineer, but
I am a staff engineer at an
Okay.
environmental engineering consulting company.
okay. You enjoy that, I'm sure.
Sure.
What is it? Oh, I know as part of the joke that no one ever asks you what you do, so I'd actually like to ask you what you do if you're willing to talk about it.
Yeah, I do a lot of erosion and sediment control,
Okay.
which is most of what I do is going to construction sites and looking at basically all the controls that are designed to keep dirt from leaving the site
Okay.
and making sure that they're working properly and that they're installed, like they're supposed to be based on the plans and stuff.
Okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Dirt control.
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, it's got to be,
I guess on beaches and stuff I've heard of it. I've never heard of it just in general.
Yeah, because if you have a construction site and you don't have that right and it rains, you've taken out all the vegetation, which holds all the soil in place, and you can lose dirt, and then it gets in rivers and streams and stuff.
Sure.
Well, there we go.
You learned something, Chris.
Yeah, no, super. I'll drink to that.
Yes. Cheers. Cheers to finally.
If I have any fans who listen to all my podcasts, they're so tired of hearing about erosion and sediment control at this
Really?
point.
Is it
I guess people ask what I do. I don't know, because it's...
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't at least important,
Sure.
I mean,
No, I mean,
I think it's fascinating. Whatever.
go ahead. I mean, are people coming on your show and asking you about it, and you have to re-explain it every time to the people on your show, or are you just constantly bringing it up on your show?
No, I feel like people will... When people ask, oh, what do you actually do?
Right.
Then I wind up talking about it, and
Yeah.
then...
They just pull the string. And
It's
you're
happened
off.
at least on one other... Okay, so maybe it's just one, but anyway.
I get it. No.
If I'm boring any of my fans, probably it's one person.
I have the same thing. Everyone asks me what I do all the time. I never tell them.
What do you do?
We just went over this, that I'm not going to talk about it.
All right.
It's very sensitive.
Super critical, man.
No, what?
Even though I was the one who
She
asked the
could have
question.
said no. I mean,
For you said in your show, you want to talk about your show a little bit?
Yeah, I co-host a show with Katie Stone.
Mhm.
It's called Naughty Bits.
Mhm.
And the premise of the show is that we give comedians sex advice based on their jokes.
Okay.
could I ask for a for example on that?
So I think when we came up with the premise for the show, we had I had been hearing a bunch of people tell horrible sex jokes, and I was like, man, these people really need advice. And then we didn't actually want to talk to any of those people about their jokes. And so really it's just like us talking to mostly our friends who are comedians about their jokes about sex and dating.
Okay.
And kind of like digging into that juicy and flavorful material.
So I hope it's also recommended that they do their best sex work, their sex jokes.
Yes.
Because otherwise, like,
Yeah.
peanuts on an airplane, there's not a lot to pick up when it comes to their,
Right.
Yeah.
We have had people tell airplane jokes, but
Sure.
they were sex airplane jokes, so
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Say the theme, yeah.
Respect. Right.
sure.
And then that turned into a podcast, too, as a supplemental.
Yeah, so the podcast is more just discussing sex, sexuality, dating-related topics in pop culture and kind of like whatever we want to talk about.
Right. Celebrity sense, Hollywood sense, or just kind of like, whatever we want. Cause,
It's not like celebrity sex gossip.
Well, not gossip as much, but I thought I saw it referred to, like, in the same sense as the actual show. And you were talking about individual people and, like, if you're going to give them...
Oh,
advice,
yeah, we reserve the right to give sex advice to
Sure.
fictional and real people on the show.
Okay.
That's a good plug. Like, I'm genuinely curious about fictional character sex advice. I'm looking forward to that.
Like who? What was episode 15 about?
The most recent episode.
Yeah.
The most recent episode was just Katie and I hanging out after a long absence.
Sweet. Okay.
In the sense that most podcasts are people talking. This is...
Yeah.
The podcast is sometimes just our friendship displayed for public consumption.
Sure.
We talked a little bit about sailors, breakups. I don't know. Yeah. A range
Sailors?
of- yeah.
Okay. Just sailors in general.
Well, I had been in Portland during Fleet Week, and so there were sailors roaming the city, and so we talked about, what it is about sailors that holds a special place in, people's imaginations.
Okay. I was going to say, because a romanticized sailor or the... Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And as the army guy, I have to say, it is in your imagination. They're dirty, gross people. Stay away from the sailors, ladies.
Everybody shits on the Navy, man.
I mean, it's kind of the Navy's fault. I mean, I'm not going to defend
It's
them.
funny. I just didn't know that was a thing. I don't know. I didn't know very many people in the military growing up. And so
Yeah.
then when I started meeting some, it was like, oh, people
People hate the Navy.
People hate the Navy.
Well,
Or the people in the armed forces.
yeah, I think we all hate each other. Like, didn't you say you
I
were
thought
from Colorado Springs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, forget the Air Force. Those guys. Zoomies.
But it seems like the Navy is like the low man on the totem pole.
I've always heard that the Air Force was the low man on the totem because there were a bunch of nerds. Like you had to examine, you had to like have perfect eyesight, you had all these things. Like the Air Force just fuck those guys. And the naval forces are always like 20 miles away hitting buttons and like when you're not boots in the ground or
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've all got beds to sleep in and showers and stuff like
Sure.
that. Forget those guys.
Sounds great.
Yeah, no.
Why didn't you do that?
Yeah, no. Knowing what I know now, that's what I would have done.
Sure.
But
Sure.
whatever. The
So-
cable's out. That's their idea of deploying.
If I join the armed forces, are they all the armed forces, or are they?
Yeah,
the,
yeah, I think-
if I join the
umbrella.
military of some kind, I definitely want to join the one that everybody makes fun of for being pussies, right? Like
Yeah.
that's where you want to be.
That's
the safest
solid,
place, yeah.
solid
Yeah.
plan. Correct.
I thought that was the Air Force.
Air Force meteorologist. Yeah.
Oh,
something
sure.
Like that.
Well, my dad was a ham radio operator during World War II. And no, World War II. That's not right. No, he was. I
Whoa.
think maybe during the Korean War, he was in
I don't-
Germany or something.
Probably doesn't.
I'm trying to. I don't remember a lot of history.
But,
so-
Vietnam, maybe?
They all
Maybe.
run
We
together.
seem like an age where our dads would have been.
Oh, I mean, late '60s, like.
Whoa, the Great War!
Dun.
The boys are coming.
The March. Yeah. So anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know anything about my dad's history in the military. But he was in the Air Force, and
Love you, Dad.
Back then, they didn't really care.
You know,
but-
Father's Day was a couple weeks ago too, right?
damn it.
Yeah. This is awkward.
Where do you do your show?
The New Movement Theater.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hot spot for a lot of cool shit. Like Little Miss comedy pageant doesn't exist anymore, right?
No.
Correct.
Yes.
It has been the improv theater I've most been to.
Yeah.
I've actually never been to Cold Town. What's the one on Congress?
The Hideout.
Hideout. I've been to the Hideout a few times, but never actually Cold Town.
Oh, you should go to Cold Town. Cold Town is great.
I will.
Cold Town is the home of my sketch troupe.
What's your sketch troupe?
Comedy Bazaar.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah, that's easy.
Write that down, Travis.
I think the problem is we're just not willing to disagree with each other. So everything's just kind of working out like, okay, well, this sounds good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, earlier I offered to make someone walk off the set, and you said, "Don't do that."
Well,
and
no,
now
because I
agree
don't know.
with
I don't know what that
everybody.
means. Like, I need you to like a practice space. So you can
Okay.
audition
All
that
right.
position. You know, and Cold Town's right next to my house. We can walk over there.
That's a good point, actually.
Mhm.
I like where your head's at. And now that you mention it, New Movement's right next to my house, so that's probably at least
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was that. Wait, can I ask my thing?
Yeah, sure.
So on illegalecomedy.com,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going on about giraffes.
Oh yeah.
And I was curious as to what inspired you about giraffes to explore them so thoroughly.
I think I had when that joke started, I have 3 videos. They're all called Giraffe
Mhm.
Facts,
Part 1 through
where
3.
I inform people in general about many facts about giraffes.
sure.
I mean,
And-
it is right there, titular. Yeah.
yeah, and teach people about things. I think,
How high their collars need to be popped. And
yeah, the animations were fun. I just did little like basic cutout animations, and then the first joke that started it all is the idea of guillotining a giraffe. It was just really funny to me, like the idea that you would have to like guillotine it like multiple times.
Sure.
Or just like its head. I don't know. For some reason, that image just struck me as super funny. And then I was kind of like working through it. And I was just like, oh, I should try to do more of this. And I feel like that's often a good impulse is like if you think of one thing you think is funny, it's like, and this is a classic improv trick, but it is like, oh, if this, what else?
Right.
So
right,
like, oh,
Right.
what are other, if you have to guillotine a giraffe 7 times, what are other things, like, what are other characteristics of the giraffe?
And there's a lot.
Neither
No,
apparently
yeah,
is,
you'd be
Yeah.
shocked, honestly. Like David Attenborough needs to do number 4. Like it's powerful stuff.
Who is David Attenborough?
He's the guy that does Earth, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the right guy.
Okay. Yeah. Like planet Earth.
Yes.
We
exactly.
zoom in on the Sahara.
No, I thought you didn't know David Attenborough.
That's
That's,
a-
like spot
right.
on. Like
I don't even think I know. I just feel like I've heard somebody do that as a bit.
Well, it
Like-
sounded like you guys were personal friends. Like,
Okay.
right
yeah.
now,
Like a
did
different
you
David
grow up
Attenborough, or-
with David?
Right,
Like was
right.
he your neighbor?
Oh,
Like
Uncle Dave, yeah.
Yeah.
He's always like, zoom in, yeah.
So there
We
you go.
see the noble cactus. I don't know.
Never thought of adjectives for plants before beyond like color.
Only cactus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's
Yeah.
it right there. Then
You stand the
The
ground.
highest born of all the plants.
Hail, they say.
It's the royalty,
As if
really,
to
of
say.
plant life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Hey, I got it.
Thank
Got
you.
it.
Thank you.
That's a visual for those of you at home. Yeah.
Sure. Well, if they get that,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and they're true fans of the show,
Call the shot line.
call the shot line. Yeah. I keep like, man, we had a successful thing with. We have a number of people can call 412-440-7468, where you can call in when we're actually doing the show. But like, I can't figure out how that we're not radio people.
Yeah.
So it's been a hard time. I'm like, I want to hang out with you. I want to talk to you, Ella. I want to talk to you, but I also don't want some stranger to be like, hey, Baba Booey, and hang up. Like, I don't want that to happen. I'm worried that's going to be the second call. we
What?
ever
I
get.
don't want that to happen.
Right. What?
I want strangers to call.
Well, I can set it up, but
No, that's what I was gonna say. We call in and she can handle Baba Booey's and you can handle the
Oh, that's
other
true.
people.
That's true. That's true.
Tag team.
all right. So I realized that I made a mistake.
Yeah.
The next segment, I'll set it up. Just get people to call in and just scream or whatever. But about giraffe facts, and you have more, I'm sure, that you haven't.
Yes. And the second you start doing something like that, like people will start sending you
Well,
giraffe facts.
no, now I'm already worried about all the Baba Booey things that are coming your way. I mean, the second this goes viral, you know.
Sure.
I'll get your phone number after the break, you know,
Right.
and then we'll
In
forward
the
it
show
all.
notes.
Yeah,
Right.
in the show notes. Yeah.
Not on the
second,
district.
second of the break, we'll come back.
These dusty bricks, bitters, mix, bitter cats, split
A small conference room. They're not in the ballroom.
No, of course not.
They're in like the
That's not-
C annex.
quilt, great. Wipe the dust off the canvas and wait till we break.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Segment 3, this is the Fightin' 3. Still hanging out in Don's Depot. Chris Lloyd, of course, still talking to Gale.
Hi.
Hello, Gale, everyone.
Enjoying the popcorn here. So you said this is the first time at Don's, right?
Yes.
And you went to the bathroom. You see that it's made of a caboose. Isn't it adorable?
Yeah, I was confused by the bathroom, but delighted.
Okay.
There's carpet in this whole place, which is weird for a bar.
Yeah.
It's a bold choice
Yeah.
for somewhere that serves booze.
Mhm.
But I kind of admire it. It's nice. It's like, oh, so soft on my feet. Unused to
Cold.
Linoleum.
drinking beer with soft foot padding below.
During the winter, they just started this too. They bring carpet out here.
Oh.
It's nice and it's really nice. It's really soft.
I didn't notice
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but this is also where the cigarettes happen, so it's even.
Yeah,
More
it's
of a
still
bad
a
idea.
weird choice.
Gross.
And popcorn and carpet doesn't work very well.
No.
And very often there will be people who just do not know how scoops, popcorn, or gravity work.
Well, I've never eaten popcorn without dropping like some of it.
Sure.
10% loss per popcorn eating
Right.
sesh.
Have you ever been to any of the restaurants? Like I don't know if Texas has this as a like if they're exclusive, but a restaurant that allow you to throw peanut shells on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have.
The Texas
Really?
Roadhouse is one of the
Yeah, I
ones.
was going to
where,
say, like, there's whole chains built on that.
and I think it's really disgusting. Like the idea of like just toss. No other food goes down, but peanut shells on the floor. Fine.
That makes sense. They're husks, right? They're easy to sweep up. Like if you were
Yeah,
like, oh,
sure.
pick between cleaning up a like raspberry jam or
Sure. Yeah.
a bunch of peanut shells.
It's a slippery
Don't throw
slope
your-
between throw just the peanut shells to why not throw your banana cream pie or whatever else is.
Yeah,
is
literally slippery if
Yeah.
it's a banana cream pie
Right.
on that slope.
dangerous.
Yeah.
It's literally
Dun,
slippery. Yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
Or like Dick's Last Resort is a chain, I guess. I only thought it was in San Antonio because it was so weird, but I saw one in Chicago.
Right.
Is that where they're supposed to be mean to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everyone wears hats, and those hats are like. And I gotta say,
Is it fun? It seems kind of fun.
it is kind of fun. Like I kind of hate it, but like the fact that every person's like, you ever walk into a Home Depot and ask any random person for help, and they all seem to know where every fucking thing is, even though they make like $10 an hour. Like they legitimately, every time I walk into a Home Depot or a Lowe's, and it's like, hey, I'm looking for this kind of light bulb, and they're like, so. They don't have to walk or look for anything. They're like, oh, row 12,
That's
halfway
their
in the middle
job,
of
though.
Well, no, I know, but like they, for as little as they get paid, they actually know without. I've never had a situation where a person has been like, "Oh, this is my first day." Like I don't know. Like they always fucking know. So like at Dick's, it's like I don't know what the training's like, but like it's very effective.
They're doing a good
They're
job.
doing a really good job. But
Like-
one of the things is like when you're finished with your napkin, you can throw it on the floor and like is that part of it? You know, like I don't know.
I'm pretty enthusiastic about like fake, weird, gimmicky stuff in general. There's
Yeah.
a place in Denver called Casa Bonita. I don't
Yeah.
know. Do you guys watch South
Yeah,
Park?
South Park. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know it actually exists.
Yeah, Casa Bonita. It's real. It's iconic. We would go there when we were kids, and I remember when we were kids, our parents just always complained about how terrible the food was, and I was always,
sure.
always like, "Oh, you guys are being like hoity-toity." And then I went there as an adult with some friends, and it's unreal how bad the food is. It's like somebody just took like their cheese enchiladas are literally like the cheese doesn't even seem like real. Like not even like the cheapest cheese you would get at the grocery store.
Right.
Like a grade lower than that cheese. Like prison cheese.
Prison cheese,
but it's
yeah.
awesome. It's a lot of it is designed to look like you're outside in a Mexican villa, and there's a waterfall, and there are cave divers,
Yeah.
and there's a spooky cave, and there's puppet shows.
That was the thing. I was really curious about the spooky
Puppet
cave, like
shows.
the
Yeah,
pirate
Black
cove or
Parts
whatever.
Cave.
It's real.
And I remember when I was young enough, it was legitimately scary to me because
Yeah.
people will always like wait in there and jump out at you, like strangers and stuff,
Sure.
or like you'll go through with your friends
Wait,
and they'll like.
employees or strangers?
No, I think it's like just anybody.
Just free form.
Yeah, freeform
Feel like
scaring.
scaring kids? Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like
Free enchiladas? No thanks.
That can't go wrong.
No.
oh, they're not free. It's like $15 a meal, and it's terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
God.
So
and
wait,
you can't.
I'm going to Denver in August.
You should go
I
to Casa Bonita. Absolutely.
Okay.
I highly encourage it. You might have to wait in a line, but I don't know, unless, I mean, if you're the kind of person who legitimately, like, hates, like, a Disneyland, for instance, and would never go and would complain about it and be
Right.
kind of horrified in that environment, then maybe don't go. But if there's, like, a part of you that's, like, enjoys kind of weird, kitschy, gimmicky stuff, yeah, go to Casa Bonita, absolutely. And the thing about that South Park episode is, like, the way Cartman feels about it, where it's
so important.
So important.
Yeah.
That's how I always felt about it as a kid. It was like, oh my God, we're going to Casa Bonita. It was such a big deal.
And
especially because we didn't
it.
live there. I don't know if they hated it. I bet they had a good time. I bet they enjoyed seeing us have a good time.
Yeah. And they just ate that terrible food.
Yeah. They just ate the terrible
I'm
food.
so happy that it exists.
Yeah, of course you are. Who wouldn't be happy?
And it's Mexican.
Sure.
Well, Colorado Tex-Mex, right?
Right, no.
Yeah, or
I mean, calling it Mexican seems like an insult to Mexican food. But, yeah, in theory.
the best
No.
kind of food, in theory.
You're paying for the atmosphere.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
what it's from.
Right.
Paying
No.
for the sizzle, not the $15 steak
Mhm.
fajitas.
Yeah. No. And it's always bad Mexican food's always fascinated me because it's like meat, bean, cheese.
Yeah,
like,
it's so
there's
hard
nothing
for it to
to
be
it.
bad.
Yeah.
But I'm from South Carolina, so I've gone there and it's inedible. Like it literally will come out of my mouth. Like, how do you mess this up? I don't get it. But
Yeah, I had Mexican food once in northern Montana, and it was served to me by a middle-aged white woman, and I was like, oh no.
oh no.
And it was like somebody bought tortillas and like a can of beans at the store and then put it together with cheddar on top. And even that doesn't seem like it would be that bad, but it was not good.
On paper, it sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, great, relatively, I guess. But
Yeah.
what were you doing in Montana?
I lived there for a year after college. I
Okay.
was doing AmeriCorps.
Okay.
On that note, can we talk about is it fair to call it expat time? Like, I know you were in
Sure.
the Mideast for a little while.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here right now. Your joke about the UN task force. Not
Oh.
to give that away, but how'd you end up there? What was going on with that scene?
Part of my original undergrad degree back before I was an engineer was like Middle Eastern history and
Really?
film. And so I took Arabic throughout college. I spent 3 or 4 months in Morocco. I did like study abroad in Morocco when I was in college. And then afterwards I was looking for a job and I got in touch with this nonprofit that did youth radio programs abroad and asked them if they had any internships or like entry-level positions opening, and they wrote back and they said that they were looking for somebody in Yemen, and my Arabic was pretty good, so yeah, it was a pretty natural fit. So I wound up in Yemen working for this American nonprofit.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have lots of questions about Middle Eastern film. Like, what's going on there? Like, what is a Middle Eastern film theme or something?
Oh, well, it was really like kind of dual degrees.
Right.
So it was the Middle East and film. Not,
Right. Gotcha. So that's cool.
Although I did take an Iranian cinema class, but that was the only time where they like came together.
Merged.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, when I was in Morocco, I made like a documentary for my final project.
And you got like a good 10 minutes of act out of the whole thing too. So
Yeah, and I've been writing.
Priceless.
I've been writing more. So, no, it's been interesting to write about it because it took me a while, and then the second I started, I just immediately got like a lot of. It's pretty rich territory to explore. 'Cause
Right.
It's not.
would you say more or less rich than Giraffe Facts?
I would say more rich than. Giraffe
Okay.
Facts.
All right. No, that's powerful. I see your passion.
How can we learn more about giraffes? How can our listeners right now learn more about giraffes? I mean, we can go to your YouTube page for sure.
Sure.
I mean, I
Do you
guess
ever think about going back and doing those smaller projects?
I do, and I kind of want to make a cutout animation series, like a similar series of really short videos about like fashion and like dressing for your body type.
Okay. What's keeping you from doing it? Giraffes.
Animation just takes a lot of time, and working a day job and doing the amount of comedy I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's, like those kinds of projects can be hard to find time for.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, you know, it wouldn't be crazy. I could do it in a few dedicated weekends, but I would still.
Sure.
You know, it's hard to wake up on Saturday morning and.
You're like, let's get to it. Yeah.
Time to work at my comedy job.
Maybe something on Fiverr. You know, maybe you could do that.
Oh yes, that's
Just a thought.
Somebody paid me $5.
the opposite, I think, right?
Oh yeah. No, you could hire
Outsource it.
someone
Oh,
to do your
okay.
cutout. Yeah.
Oh,
My
that
bad.
would
Get those
so
keyframes
sad.
together and then be sad because.
But it's fun to do the animation. I like
Yeah.
it. So
What would you use or what did you use actually for the Giraffe X thing?
I did
Because
it.
I hear cutouts and I assume it's something like Flash based or program.
It's not literal.
Yeah.
This probably isn't the most efficient way to do it, but it's how I made my senior thesis film, and so I'm pretty quick at it at this point. But it's
Yeah.
basically just making digital collages in Photoshop and then importing those into Final Cut and animating those in Final Cut.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
keyframes and like motion graphics.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I can see how. Because I'm sure there's better programs for it, but like learning that shit too, like leading up to like what am I doing Saturday? Let's
Yeah.
start a brand new program.
No, and but that's actually a thing where I feel like I'm glad I have that knowledge in my back pocket now, because when I've made little things, it comes together pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to learn how to edit film, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm not great. I'm a pretty good editor. I'm an okay like videographer.
Yep.
I can shoot things all right. But then it's nice to have that skill, like some base level knowledge.
Because a lot of it also, like I'm sure, the daunting, like before you know how long it's going to take, you already kind of know how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
So you're not going into a project and then like having to stop halfway. You're like, no, I have to finish this. Like again, a couple weekends even sounds, pretty optimistic.
Yeah, and I can't remember, but when I was doing my senior thesis film in undergrad, I think every minute of my project I would expect that to take like an hour. Maybe that was even just for the sound editing, but,
Yeah.
which isn't that crazy. Like, that's...
Sure.
Um,
Still.
Anyway, yeah, but you kind of have some sense of, okay, you're not going to be done, even if it's just 30 seconds. If it's animated, it's going to take
Yeah.
a few hours one day. And that's not an insane amount of time for, and again, I'm doing really basic stuff, so.
Right. But you also have the basis to be able to know what you're doing right and wrong. So it might take you a little bit longer because you want to do it right. But for people who are trying it the first time, don't know and stumble and 6 hours for 30 seconds or whatever. But
Yeah, it's film editing, when you first start doing it, is a steep hill to climb.
yeah. Now you're there. You got it.
Mhm.
So,
Boom.
yeah.
It's fun, and I really like it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in Arduino that you guys could speed that up a little bit. I'm just spitballing
I
here.
appreciate buzzwords. Yeah.
I don't know.
Arduino,
Hashtag
Raspberry Pi. Yeah.
Something to think about. Yeah.
Something to think. Just mull it over. You can.
I'm not an expert. Just trying to help.
Let's take an early break. We'll come back and do toasts
Okay.
and plugs from you.
Okay, sounds good.
I think. Okay.
Wipe the dust off the canvas and wait till we break.
I mean, they have a Facebook group. They must be legit. That's all it takes.
Tripping on his deep groove. And the night's new. What a feeling, what a nice mood. A bam, boom, rock. We're here to rock you. It's like
Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Yay!
Segment 4, the toast segment. Still hanging out with Chris.
I'm here.
Still being a kick-ass co-host.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've been trying.
And of course, still hanging out with Ella.
Yes.
Very good to have you come and hang out with us and have a Lone Star. Mm-hmm. Is Lone Star the second to Shiner for you? Like, would you...
I feel like Lone Star, I don't want to have that much more alcohol, but I do want to have something cold that's not a water.
Okay. So Lone Star, like... Lone Star instead of, like, Rolling Rock or... like because Lone Star is, like...
when you're down at that level, I don't think it matters.
Sure. Okay. Cold.
Why not a Lone Star? It's iconic.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've got no problem with Lone Star.
I did tweet this if anybody's like checking up, but I did see Whole Foods selling Lone Star as a local beer. And I thought that was funny.
Sure.
What's sad is how many people probably didn't get that joke. Like, there's people in Whole Foods going, "Oh yeah, give me some of that. I'm cool."
Well, we come to our toast segment. Oh, Whole Foods. Are you a big fan of the crap? Not Whole Foods. What's the small chunk that came from California that's now spreading
Trader
across
Joe's.
Trader Joe's? Are you
I've almost never lived anywhere where I had access to a Trader Joe's,
Yeah.
so I haven't even been in Trader Joe's like that often.
Is there something similar to a Trader Joe's where you came from?
No,
Like-
Colorado they just started getting them. I think there was some reason they couldn't have them for a long time related to liquor laws. Or maybe they could have had them, but it just wasn't worth it to open them without
right.
being able to sell wine or something also.
Okay.
Because I don't think you can buy beer in my hometown grocery store.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think you can buy beer or wine.
Really? Okay.
Am I wrong? It might be changing, but
Well, sure.
yeah. So anyway, I have no opinion on Trader Joe's.
Okay.
Not familiar.
I've completely switched for what it's worth. I used to
You
do
have,
all my
yeah.
shopping at Whole Foods, and now I can't remember. It's been months since I've ever been in a Whole Foods. for any
I actually
reason.
see you do Arcade City,
Yep.
which is a Facebook site of ride sharing. I actually see you leave Trader Joe's more than I see you leave your house.
Well-
which is impossible, technically.
I literally live across the street, and it's easier to say the Trader Joe's downtown. And I probably shouldn't have said that on the air, but because
If you're
everyone's
tracking
trying to get me.
movements.
It's just easier. Like, that's a good landmark rather than no, it's this address that you've never heard of before and has no context.
Right.
So, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a Whole Foods on the way home from my gym, which is very dangerous because every time I work out, I feel like I can reward myself with like
Sure.
nice groceries, and
Yeah.
then things just get so crazy so quickly.
How crazy can you get at a Whole Foods?
I went to Whole Foods last weekend,
Yeah.
and I came home with 7 kinds of cheese.
That sounds pretty reasonable, really, but like, did you eat all those cheeses that night?
No, I didn't, because
Okay.
I've been opening them one at a time for the most part. But it was still like I counted afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, this is fine." But then when you come home with a bag and a half of groceries, basically, and then
Right.
there's 7 cheeses,
7
in it,
cheeses,
it's
yeah.
like
Like it has its own bag. Like this is
What
the
if I
cheese
don't-
bag to keep away from the other
my
things.
bag of Jesus. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. That just I felt weird about it when I counted at home.
That's a fun. That seems like a sketch. Like, Girls Gone Cheese Wild. Like, this is what I do on spring break.
Cheese bag for Ella. Yeah. I'm gonna get you a special one you can keep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let them breathe.
What's your favorite? What was your favorite cheese from your?
That is exactly
Extravaganza.
what I was
Yeah.
wondering.
There was a
actually.
little half wheel from like the bag of ends, and it was so good. It was something to Cabra. It was a goat cheese.
Okay.
It was like a semi-soft goat cheese. It was kind of like a cross between a brie and like something like a blue cheese, like mid-flavorful,
Mm.
but still like soft and very, very like tasty and edible, not strong. Just like kind of
Okay.
like a nuttier, more flavorful brie. It was really good. And I can't remember what it was called, and now I'm annoyed because I would buy more of it.
Sorry for asking you a difficult question. Then.
No, it's fine. I'm never coming back on this podcast.
Fucking don't remember cheese.
I just threw my beer across the table.
It hit me right in the face.
kind of intense.
Yeah.
Got weird.
It was fun though.
We shouldn't fix that in post. We should let that rawness exist.
The anger.
Yeah.
So then it sounds like you made a good choice to get extravagant.
I guess. I don't know.
Girl
I bought
likes
this
cheese.
thing called bread cheese.
Is that mold?
No, it's like a squeaky cheese, and then you're supposed to heat it up.
Okay.
Like eat it hot with like honey and stuff. Or preserves, I guess.
Okay. It sounds like if we have you back on the show at some point, that we should have a cheese tasting.
Oh, I would enjoy that, yeah.
Or a cheese competition.
Oh,
A cheese off.
a cheese off.
Oh, I like cheese off.
Yeah.
That could work on a couple different levels, actually.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about food, but
No.
I know you don't eat a lot of food, but you hate cheese.
I don't know what that means. I love cheese.
Sure.
I just bought experimental cheese. But no, we could have like a cheese off.
Experimental cheese, what?
It's called pub cheese. It's some cheese that has horseradish in it. But I was like, I'm going to melt this and like pour it over stuff because I love queso and I love horseradish.
Sure.
But then I was like, oh, I don't know if it's supposed to be melted. So now it's just sitting in the fridge while I'm nervous about what to do with it. I didn't mean that to be a whole story, but I just mean I love cheese.
I feel like
I
that'd
want
be
just the
good on
next
a
time.
sandwich.
No, that's
Yeah.
what it's made for. Like it says
A roast
spreadable.
beef.
And I was like,
Oh, okay. So it's like a spreadable horseradish cheese.
Or
right.
maybe
And I was
make
like,
a
could I melt it
Oh, and you
pour it
tried
over
like
a thing?
okay, turning it into like a
Like a dip.
liquid. Cheese.
Right. And I was like, I don't know if it's supposed to do that.
trying to
So I
change the
gave it
delivery
up.
method of this cheese.
So
Right.
did you heat it up?
No, I haven't done it. Like it was literally
What?
this afternoon. I was like, I don't know. I'm
Man,
not going to risk it.
Just try. Life is short. If you have an instinct to melt a cheese, man, you melt that cheese.
Yeah.
I want you to go home and melt that cheese. If that's what you wanted to do with it, you do it. You live your dream.
Finish that
You're
project.
better than Shia LaBeouf. I'm going to do that. That's exactly what's going to happen.
The worst thing that can happen is that you lose some cheese.
That's true. And you know where I got that cheese? Trader Joe's.
Sure.
Something to think about.
Sure.
Something to think
Sure.
I'm going to melt the shit out of that cheese.
Do it tonight.
No, that's what I'm going to do.
Report back.
Take pictures.
Yeah, I'm going to call the shot line while I do it.
Cool.
I'm going to be like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Cheese is everywhere.
Ella was right. Okay, it exploded, but hey, you learned something. That's important.
Right.
That's the most important part.
No, it's true. There's no failures, only lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that on a bumper sticker.
No bad ideas in a cheese storm.
No
Yep.
crying in cheese ball.
I want both of those things to exist. Like, I really, I love the idea of cheese ball. It's a book I've been trying to write for a while, but I also like the idea of that some kind of like, was that Meatballs? What was the name of that animation? There was also a story about food that came from heaven. Like, I like the idea of like a cheese storm. Like, you just walk outside, and just enjoy cheese
Oh.
forever.
Cloudy
with a chance of meatballs.
meatballs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. It's an adult movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sort of artsy.
Yeah, pretty artsy.
It's a
Is it an
Cannes,
adult
I
movie?
think.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was like,
I think it's like a Judy Blume book or something, right? Like
it's like a
not Judy
children's
Blume,
picture
but
book.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a
With
young
a
adult.
completely different story.
Yeah,
Canonically,
because
the
you
movie
can't
doesn't
make
make
a
any sense.
20 pages of
Canonically.
pictures into a coherent film.
Right.
Not with
Yeah.
Not an adult coherent film. You could make
Right.
like an experimental film, perhaps.
You say that, but we're also, and I can't believe we didn't talk about this yet, but they're making a movie about Tetris. So I really feel
3
that,
movies about Tetris.
Yeah, right.
Wait,
They're making a
what?
trilogy about Tetris. Because
is-
they thought the original material was too
Too epic for
epic
one film.
For one film.
Have I seen trailers for this? Are they
No.
doing it kind of tongue in cheek though?
How can you do a trilogy tongue in cheek?
I mean, like, there's a okay, so there's a documentary, I'm sure, involved in what Tetris means and historically and why it's this Russian thing and how it becomes a cultural divide in American pop culture, video games and shit. But like 3 movies still doesn't work for a documentary. Like,
No,
Like, yeah,
Like
so-
it's a story. And
Yeah.
and he was talking about like, well, it's about things coming together and making something beautiful.
Sure.
Is it
Like,
about people playing Tetris, or it's set in the Tetris universe?
it sounds like neither.
I love that. That would be like a weird, like experimental animation that sounds kind of amazing, actually. But like as a big budget, Michael Bay, who's attached to it? Michael Bay.
oh no,
Michael Bay making that Tetris movie.
no. What's the guy's name?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Adam Sandler or Michael Bay.
It was the producer who was like, we conceived this idea and we realized
Yeah.
it's just too much
This
for one.
well
We
is
can't
too
do it
deep.
justice in one film. So they've already plotted out the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which, right, it makes me feel bad for making fun of like Hunger Games, which turned 3 books into 4 movies. This turns nothing into 3 movies, which
sure.
is totally
Yeah.
impressive or sad, depending on your
Mini-games, They were
mood.
still trying to do the same thing. Make a block, make a line. Line disappears. I mean, like the Pixels, the Adam Sandler movie, The Pixels. That's the British version. The Pixels itself was actually produced based on some guy made an animation of these video game characters that came to Earth and just started wreaking fucking havoc. And one of them was Tetris, actually. It's like these Tetris blocks would come in, and it was like a very like a 40-story building. And Tetris block would come in and just murder every 4 stories at a time. Like, and it was this weird, creepy thing. And like, and then Adam Sandler got a hold of it, and Peter Dinklage was involved, and
Bada boom, bada bing.
and yeah, snap, snap, snap. You know. So anything's possible. You can make anything happen, based on bad ideas. So.
Yeah. That's what most things
But
are
when the
based
first
on.
one comes out, can we all just agree we're going to go see it together?
Oh my
Sure,
God. Like,
yeah.
rent out the
I
theater.
love that.
Well, we should have a drunk ass.
It's just a whole thing.
Yeah. At the Alamo, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah.
We might have to invite a drug dealer. Like, there's not enough shots probably to make that one go down. Like, I don't even know what fan service in a Tetris movie
If we
would
could
be.
find the producer,
What is that?
the producer who created the movie, let's find his drug dealer because
Oh, yeah, right.
we get
Like,
the full experience of what the hell he was thinking.
What,
At the time,
what was he nibbling on
Right.
when at that?
What kind of snake was he fucking when he created this thing? You know?
Right.
Metaphorically.
Metaphorically, of
But,
course.
obviously.
Or chasing, I guess.
Could
yeah.
they like some behind the scenes table reads? Oh, he hits left twice. Oh,
Oh, Jesus.
what is
How's
going
this going to
on?
work out? Yeah. I think it's time for us to have our toasts. We have an opportunity to talk to you, Ella, about what you want to toast, if you want to toast something.
Sure. I'm listening to an audiobook that I really like.
Right now?
That I would recommend.
Yeah.
It's very engaging. It's Authority. It's the second book in the Southern Reach trilogy. Looking forward to the third one by Jeff Vandermeer.
You want to toast that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Very high-minded.
excellent.
Yay.
Excellent. Worth sharing. Oh, excuse me.
That is the spot.
Did it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not Jaeger. You okay?
It is not. It's not. There's time. There's time.
There's still time. Ella, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. If we wanted to find you online, where could we find you?
You could find me, my website at ellagalecomedy.com. I keep a pretty good updated list of upcoming shows. And on Twitter at hellacale.
Anywhere else? No Instagram? No Stitcher
Those
Store?
are the
Tumbling.
2 platforms. And then listen to my podcast, the Naughty Bitcast.
Yeah.
Which I believe you can find everywhere. All the places.
Everywhere. All the places.
Probably not all. Most. Just Google Naughty Bitcast, and they're all on my website also.
Cool.
So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Do you have any shows that are coming up within the next couple weeks?
I'm doing Bedpost Confessions this month.
Okay.
So that is the 3rd Wednesday and Thursday in July. I want to say July like 20th and 21st.
Yep. Where's that?
That is at the North Door at 8 p.m.
Good.
on a Wednesday and Thursday.
Good. And if random strangers who are listening to this right now want to come to your table read,
It will have already happened by the time this comes out.
Thursday. It'll be next Thursday this comes out.
Yeah, this is the table reads on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So next week. I got
Yeah,
it.
literally next week.
Not 7 days. Sorry.
No, no worries.
Okay. Rad.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. Yes, and Chris, thanks for helping me.
Anytime. I live to serve.
If you like the show, you want to know more about the show, please go to drunkcastlive.com. That's drunkcastlive.com. We're on the Stitcher store, we're in the iTunes store. Go to the iTunes store and do a thing and comment a thing and blah, 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 blah. To be positive. We are also on Twitter and Facebook at Drunkcastlive. We're on Drunkcastlive Pics on Instagram, which someday I will post more than once a month. Maybe. And 412-440-SHOT. It's 412-440-7468. That is a phone number where you can text your phone number. Where you can phone. Is that the verb? Where you can phone a person?
Yeah,
You
just
can
phone
phone a
somebody.
person.
The kids saying now?
Yeah.
Phone. Whatever. Leave a voicemail and we can talk about whatever you decide to talk about. But I think that's it. We love you so much for listening to the show, and we hope to see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Champion zone, you getting bucked down. Champion zone, you getting bucked down. Champion zone, you getting bucked down. We come to let you know what the deal is.
And that's like a self-feeding thing, right? Is like one guy was like,
A tentacle eating itself, yeah.
yeah, an Ouroboros.
Mm-hmm.
A Pornoboros.